Sentiment is left to chance. No place to be ending, but somewhere to start. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail. Across the north and south to Key Largo, love for sale. Face to face, each classic case. We shadow box and double cross, yet need that chase. A license to love, insurance to hold. It melts all your memories and change it to gold. His eyes are like angels, but his heart is cold. No need to ask, he's a smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Coast to coast, LA to Chicago, Western Mail. Across the north and south to Key Largo, love for sale. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. Smooth operator.
Bravo, bravo. Welcome to KUHS Denver Radio and TV station, Canciones de Domingo with Sylvia. Thank you so much for being with us one more Sunday. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros aquí en Canciones de Domingo, KUHS Denver Radio y Televisión. Y como acaban de escuchar, esta hermosa voz de Keisha Janan. Let me see if I pronounce this right. Is it Janan or Janan?
It's Janan.
Janan. Okay, I knew I was going to say it wrong. well, well, thank you so much, Keisha, for being here with me in Canciones de Domingo with Sylvia. It's a pleasure having you, although I try to listen to you every day because, you know, I love music and I love your voice. But it is a pleasure having you, you know, with me today here in my show. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm really excited.
Yes, and well, I'm really excited too. Let me see. I think the volume here is a little bit low. When you were singing, it was good, but I think when you're talking, it's a little bit low. So let me see. I'm just gonna turn it up and see if I can say something.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. I think it's.
Okay.
I'm just gonna turn it a little bit more so that way we can hear you. So guys, Keisha is a wonderful person. You know, if I can talk on the friend side, I can say a lot of beautiful things about her, but I'm gonna let her tell you guys a little bit about herself and you know, how she started with the music. Let me see. Oh, good, thank you. I have my my help here to help me with the noise, with the sound. So Keisha, tell me one thing. How do you start in the music?
So I actually grew up in a musical family. My dad is a jazz guitarist, a Grammy Award-winning jazz guitarist. So he's been a you know, a successful musician my whole life, and I started off playing multiple instruments, but settled into the upright bass. And that's kind of how I got into jazz. So I played mostly jazz and classical music on the upright bass. And I think it's just like growing up around music, and my mom isn't a musician, but she really does have like a love for music. So from both sides, we got the musical influence. And I just remember like my senior year of high school, I'm trying to write essays and get ready for all these standardized tests we have to take to get ready for college. And for Christmas, my dad got pretty much everybody in the house like a new instrument. So I'm trying to study, and my brothers and sisters are all like playing their instruments. My big sister is teaching my little sister the piano. My big brother is teaching my other little brother, how to play the drums. And then I had, my other brother was playing the saxophone. So it just kind of like, it was almost like it was drawing me in. So I had to like stop studying and then like pick up my bass and start playing with my family.
Wow, that sounds really nice.
Yeah. So there's kind of a lot of memories, a lot of fond memories like that. I tell people that I grew up backstage, because I would, go to concerts with my dad and, watch him from behind the scenes. So it's kind of, I kind of grew up in the music industry, but I still kind of wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue music. So I decided to join the Army.
It's like, that's the best choice right now. Well, I'll make up my mind.
Right. So, like at the same time I was, applying for music scholarships and doing auditions and stuff, I was also going through the process of applying for West Point. So I was going through like, physical fitness training and, interviews and stuff like that. And I ended up going to West Point when I graduated from high school instead of going to music school.
You're like, I'm gonna postpone it for a little bit longer.
Yes. So I still wasn't sure. You're young. You don't know when you're 18 what you want to do with your life. So I was in the Army, and my first year at West Point, there was, and this is actually how I got into singing. I didn't really sing much. I kind of sang with my sisters, but I didn't consider myself a singer. Before I went to West Point, and at West Point, they have, where the upperclassmen kind of tease the lowerclassmen, the freshmen. And during one of those like teasing sessions, they were trying to ask me questions about my family, and they asked if I was like came from a military family or if one of my parents went to West Point, and I was like, no, my dad's a jazz guitarist. and they were like, oh, well, sing us one of his songs. And I kind of was like, well, he plays the guitar, like
oh my God, sing the guitar.
The answer didn't suffice. So I ended up singing a song that my dad did as a duet with a vocalist, who's actually one of my mentors now, Shantae Moore. And I sang that song, and everybody was like, what are you doing here? Like, you should be singing. And I was really confused. So it became like a little thing. So the upperclassmen would mess with me when I was a freshman, by stopping me and making me sing random songs. Uh-huh. So then, when the West Point Glee Club had auditions, one of my classmates like pulled me down to the audition. He was like, you have to go audition to be in the Glee Club. So I went to the audition, and then I got in, and I ended up being in the Glee Club, and I also served as the gospel choir director at West Point. And that's kind of how I got started singing, and really kind of found my love for music again, was when I joined the Army to see if I actually liked music.
And well, it does take some time, more thought, when you want to do something and you're not really sure, and it gets to be where people actually is pushing you, like, you can do this, like, if I was you, I would be a singer, or I would love to see you singing out there. And that's when you kind of start thinking and realizing, like, it's not just me, like, 'cause sometimes you think it's like, well, it's just me. I think that I'm the only one that thinks that has a good voice, and I'm probably the only one that thinks that I should be doing this. And when you don't get any support or any feedback from other people, you kind of wonder and doubt yourself a lot. But when everybody's telling you, so I think that's what you needed, just a little bit more of a push of everybody, like telling you, Keisha, you need to be a singer.
Yeah, yeah, and I think just, getting it from somewhere outside of my family, was kind of like, okay, okay, I guess this can work for me. At that point, I still had a lot of time left in my commitment to the Army, so it's like, well, so I just kept singing, for myself, on the side, and and then when I got out of the Army, I decided to pursue music full time. So,
Wow. And how long were you in the army for?
I was in the Army for 5 years.
Five
Yeah,
years.
5 years after I graduated West Point.
Wow. And how long has been that you retired from the army?
I got out of the Army in 2013, so about 7.5 years.
Wow. So it's been a while now.
Yeah.
So with this time that you've been out of the army, how long of that time you've been actually dedicated to the music?
It just kind of was not a straight line. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I knew that I enjoyed music, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it full time. And then there's a lot of, aspects of the music industry that you can work in. So I ended up going to grad school and getting an MBA with a music business concentration. And I thought that I would just work in my dad's business and help him in his career. And, I did that for a while. I was working behind the scenes for a while. And then I kind of rediscovered my love of singing. So I started singing with my sisters again. And we formed a little band and released a single. And then after that, my dad was like, well, the three of you guys should come on tour with me. So we started touring with him as background singers. And I guess this whole process took the full 7.5 years because it wasn't until around this time last year that I was like, okay, I need to be doing stuff for myself. I don't want to be waiting for my dad to go on tour to have work. I don't want to be waiting for my sisters to have time for us to do stuff together. So I decided to, start making my own music. And actually in March, I released a single, my first single by myself, and started working on my own music. And then, yeah, and I did have some gigs lined up as a background singer, but by myself, not with my sisters. So the pandemic the universe had a different plan for me. But,
Yes.
It worked out for the better because, at that point I was like, all right, well, I can't tour as a background singer. So my only option really is to put myself out there as a solo artist. And, that's really what I've been doing this year is just, trying to build my own confidence and build an audience and, just really try and come into my own as a solo artist. So it's been kind of a windy road in the music industry for me, but yeah, I'm getting there.
Well, the good thing is that you're experiencing everything pretty much. A lot of people start actually on their own, and then they start experiencing after, like being a backup singer, being like a second vocal, and things like that, and then play an instrument. Probably that's like a lot of times like the last thing they do. And you started backwards. You started playing instruments, and doing all that stuff. So I think it builds up not just who you are right now, but you're being on every single position. You know exactly what to do in any, circumstance that you are thrown out there, because like you said, you have plans, but universe always have different plans, so you never know what you're going to expect.
Exactly.
Wow, well, that is wonderful. And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, so there's 6 of us. We used to call ourselves the Black Partridge Family because my dad had a big, like extra large excursion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he would have room for all of us and everybody's gear, including his, because all except for one of us are into music. So
Oh, wow. And what happened to that one?
he decided to become a rocket scientist. So yeah, every once in a while he'll send us a message of a rocket going into space.
Wow, that is so nice. Well, it's like, yeah, there's like the different person in the family all the time. Wow, well, that is pretty crazy because I know your dad has been helping you with your music too, as far as your songs as well. And what does he say now that you're pursuing it on your own?
I think he's a little surprised. So I'm like, I'm the least, I think I'm the most introverted person in my family. So like, my sisters are really like outgoing. My youngest sister is like the most like flashy. Like she's the typical personality type of a diva, and I'm like the opposite. It's like, all right, whatever. Like I'm fine being in the background. I mean, I'm fine in the spotlight. I'm fine either way. I'm just like, whatever. I'm just gonna do me. And if people see it, great. If they don't, that's fine too. But and my big sister, my older sister, is somewhere in the middle. So I think just because they're a lot more like, I don't want to say flashy, but I don't
Like
really know another word.
outgoing, more,
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess they're
less shy.
a lot more outgoing. Yeah, yeah. I think people just didn't really expect it from me. So when well, I mean, I guess except for my mom. My mom was like, "Well, you were the first one to join a choir in elementary school." I don't know. She would bring up some like obscure memory that I don't have.
She
She's
remembers right away. Wow. Yeah, I know you're
but
pretty close to your mom. You guys
yeah,
spend Thanksgiving together, which, um, I'm gonna bring this out just because so that way you guys see that the stuff happens. When you have something planned and then the universe is like, oh, you were thinking about putting your turkey in the oven. Guess what? It's not gonna happen. What happened to you, Keisha? Tell us.
yes. So while I was cooking Thanksgiving dinner, my oven range broke. So yeah, just in the middle of cooking, we had to switch it up, and I had to make some stuff in my pressure cooker. I had crock pots going. I had to cook some stuff on the grill. So it was just kind of like right in the middle of cooking. So it wasn't like, we could just put everything back in the fridge and not worry about it. It was like half cooked. So we had
Hot
to finish
cooked.
cooking.
Oh my God. So see you guys, it's like always, when you have a plan and it doesn't work out, you had to go for plan B that didn't exist. but you make it work. And guess what? I mean, Kisha had a good attitude about it. He told all of us, which, there's a group of us that we kind of chat almost every day. And she's like, oh, guess what happened, But here I am laughing about it and trying to figure out how to cook the rest of the meal. So that was a really good attitude, Kisha, because a lot of times we're frustrated already because it's a lot of work that we do during Thanksgiving. The good thing it was your mom with you, and you were not expecting more family than we usually, would have been if it wasn't for COVID. But you were laughing about it, you were telling us about it, and I was like, oh my God, I mean that's something really big, not having the turkey in the oven.
Yeah, yeah, it was a very big surprise. And like you said, that was a plan that I did not plan for. Like, so, I mean, yeah, I guess just make sure you have a thought of what you could do if your oven breaks while you're cooking.
Yeah, exactly. Or, any other day. I mean, it can happen any other day, but of course it had to happen right on Thanksgiving. So
Right.
that wasn't a cool thing, universe. Make sure next time it's a day that you're supposed to be a holiday, where you're supposed to be kind of like not stressed out about things. But yeah, I mean, things happen like that. And I know that when we were talking about the songs that you're working on, sometimes too, they don't take the time that you were planning, for those songs. They're always, it takes more time, or when you depend on another person, it takes more time, and you just have to go with it. And
Yeah.
how are you dealing with the whole pandemic as far as like when you need resources and they're not there yet or they're taking longer?
I think the first thing is just communication. So, as long as everybody can communicate when something isn't gonna go as planned, then you can either plan around it or you can at least just know it. It's not as much of a surprise. Um, and then I think the next thing is just being adaptable, being able to adapt and change your plan if you need to change it, changing your schedule if you need to change it, like just I think it kind of forces creatives to be just a little bit more creative
Creative.
with what we're doing, because like if somebody's not available because of whatever reason, then maybe you have to look for somebody else or find a different way to get the project done, or maybe find a different way to collaborate. And I think I think technology has kind of been, it's been a crutch, but I think it's also been kind of a big blessing because we've been able to use technology in new ways to connect with people and to work together and to collaborate on things. So, um, it's just kind of like, well, if we can't figure out how to do it the way that we're used to doing it, maybe let's see if there's an app that can do it.
Make our lives easier.
Exactly, exactly. And 9 times out of 10, there is some kind of app or, software or website that can help you figure out a new way to do something. So,
Exactly. And if it wasn't for technology, probably I would never met you, right? So,
exactly.
so thanks technology. I know it depends how you use it, and sometimes it can be, like a pain on the butt too. But most of the time, when it works right and we use it the right way, you can meet wonderful people, you can do wonderful things, and use it for your own, advantage. Like in this case, like you're saying, Keisha, that there's some stuff where you don't know how to do. It's like, okay, let's just figure out what app does it for me, and automatically, it comes up because there's so many people that have gone through the same thing. That's how the apps are made. When it gets to the hands of an engineer, like the problem, is like, well, I have this problem. Oh, I'm an engineer. Let me go ahead and figure something out with an application, with something like that. And that's when they make our lives easier.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And Kisha, when you were talking about that you went to like the more of the jazz side of it because you started to play the bass. Is there any other music that you were kind of thinking about going for besides jazz at the beginning?
Um, no, I mean, I just really, when I was a teenager, I did the typical teenager thing. I was really into pop. Like,
When
so
you're rapping.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, I I kind of, I don't know. I look at things that as I like to find the connections in things. So, like jazz is very close to like blues and folk music, which is kind of where American music comes from. So, I was actually in a folk band for a while. And it was a lot of fun. It was like a blues folk band, but you kind of hear where, a lot of the music we listen to today comes from. Like, so it's not really like anything is new. It's just people are finding new ways to I guess to use what they've heard before. So I think just kind of going back to the roots is fun, and then bringing in some of like the newer styles or things like that to jazz is a lot of fun. I do a lot of smooth jazz. That Sade song I sang was probably a lot more like smooth jazz R&B than classic jazz. Um, which is it's a lot of fun. And like I said, I like to find the connections and things. And I think like now even like hip hop is starting to become a little bit more obvious with the jazz and blues and R&B roots. So it's just kind of for me taking it back to the origins and then seeing what we can do with it from there.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people, like you said, they go back to the roots and then they try to find a mix, of the new things with the old roots and kind of come out with a new version of something. That's when I think the new generations start listening again, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, that's what is called jazz. Okay, let me look into it a little bit more." And that's how a lot of people kind of go back. I mean, like the new generations that they don't have any idea about, like music back on the day, or they have no intention of even looking at it, but when they hear something that is like that, like somebody grabs it, and mix it with something new, that's when they kind of go back and look at the roots and they get interested on how actually the music started, or what type of roots do they have now than the new music. Because most of the people, if you don't know about music, uh, you're gonna think that, oh, this music is brand new, it just came out, like I don't know, like last week or something. But that's when you're like, no, no, no. That was a mix from back in the day. This was happened, and that's when you get the new generations kind of interested on how everything is working on the music.
Yeah, yeah. And it is really funny to talk to younger people after they hear even a cover of a classic song and they're like, "Oh, that's a cool song," and they don't even realize that it was a cover. And I'm
Yes.
like, "You know that song was written like 70 years ago."
They're like, no.
Right. It's like, like your great grandparents listened to that song, the original one.
Yes, and you guys, if you guys were watching us last weekend when Mikey Housley was here, the comedian, he's a mutual friend of ours, and we were talking about how Michael Jackson, every time that he actually says something that we didn't think he was saying anything, actually it was Keisha, that one that told us about what Michael Jackson was saying. So even we get surprised of not knowing a lot of the stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you've been singing that song for how many years, and then here you're thinking that he's just like mumbling, or and he was actually saying some words. And so Keisha knows a lot of stuff, guys. Like Mikey was saying, if you want to know something, ask Keisha, because she knows what's going on. But yeah, Keisha, it is true. A lot of the times that when we're like talking about wherever subject it is that we're, whoever's streaming, and you always come up with something new. I don't know. I think the experience maybe at the army with, the music, with whatever it is, but you have so much knowledge that you can come up with like anything. We talk and we're like, huh, yeah, Keisha, that is true. Somebody's talking about something, and there's always the what is it called, the fact that you come out with something that's like, yeah, Keisha's right. Keisha's right. Does that always happens to you that, in every conversation they tell you, wow, thanks for the advice, or thanks for, the tip or something?
Um, Sometimes I don't. My husband doesn't always say that out loud.
Hey, but we read minds too.
But I think it's just because I really am really good at making connections with ideas. So if I can see the connection or see how something is connected, and it doesn't even have to be similar, but just connected, then I can remember it. And I think that's how a lot of people operate. Just not everybody naturally sees the connections in things. So I don't know. I think that's my gift, is just being able to see connections. And I like looking at the world like that. I do appreciate everybody's uniqueness, and everybody is different in their own way. But if we can just see how much we have in common and how connected we are, then I think that would eliminate a lot of the problems that we have with one another.
Yes.
So, and I think that also applies to kind of like non-social information too, so if you can see the connection between two items, then it's easier for you to remember both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's just kind of how I try and see things in general.
Yeah, and that is so true. And there's always like certain issue going on, and when you can see connections even with the people that they're not agreeing with you, but you're seeing a connection, you don't fight to kind of make that person understand your point of view. It's like, okay, you're also seeing that they're not even going to listen to you, so you just kind of like, I'll let it go, I respect your point of view, and I have mine, and let's move on. There's not so much of a needing of an argument right there. That's when you kind of
Exactly.
like, is respect. And I think, like you said, if we all can see that, a lot of problems will be resolved. Or they wouldn't be happening, just period. So when you're working on a song, Keisha, what is what you look for in a song, or what is what motivates you to work on certain type of songs?
Um, I really think it's just, here's this word again, my connection to like it, and it doesn't even have to be to the actual like lyrics of the song, but to the emotion that it's conveying. So, like not everybody has the same experiences, but most people have experienced the same emotions. So, if I'm listening to a song that's like, I don't know, a mother really excited about her child's first steps. Like, I've never had a baby, I've never experienced that, but I have been excited about things before. So I can relate to like the feeling of excitement or happiness or joy in that song. So, I mean, I think that's usually what connects me to music is the emotion behind the lyrics. And I really like listening to music and listening to artists. that can convey that emotion. And I guess going back to your question, like that's kind of what I loved so much about jazz is that it's really, really simple on the singer's end. Like if you're a musician playing jazz, it's not simple.
They're probably like, what is she talking about?
But if you're singing jazz, it's really simple. And, there's not a lot of like complex, like runs or intricate, notes or anything that you have to hit, singing jazz. But, just being able to convey the emotion, just with, simple things is really fun to me. And I feel like it kind of transcends, genres. So, like I think there's aspects of jazz that everybody can appreciate because of that.
Yeah, either the music, the lyrics, the feelings. I think everything, like the whole mixture, it just goes on and on and on. I think what makes a good singer is not just understanding the music, but it's like you said, actually understanding the feelings, relate the feelings to something that you had lived. If you haven't lived, what you're singing, of course, not all the time. And that's what I was talking to one of our other guests, that he was too young to experience heartbreak, and he's like, oh no, but I kind of, listen to my friends, and I see their pain, and I act, kind of like if it was me. He said sometimes I even had tears coming down, and people are like, are you okay? You can talk to me. He's like, oh, I was just like feeling it a lot. That's why. But that's when you're a singer, you had to kind of have to come up a way to show those emotions as well. So that's one of the things that I think it's hard when you haven't lived certain experiences, but at the same time, you're not going to live every single song that you have going on. Like you say, it might be, a child, might be, a father or mother that you lose or something like that. And not a lot of us have experienced that, the feeling, which is, I think one of the hardest ones. But so when you're singing, Keisha, what are you thinking of as far as do you really think about the song a lot, or you thinking about hitting the notes, or you thinking about just showing the feeling, or what do you go for? Because a lot of times, if you're thinking about all the stuff together, it shows sometimes, through your face, like you're too worried about everything. But how do you do it?
Yeah, sometimes I do like think about everything. Uh, and I think it depends on the songs. So, I mean, if it's a new song or a newer song to me, then I'm thinking more technically like, okay, I need to hit this note here. I need to breathe right here. I need to, make sure this sounds good. But, like once I've sang the song a few times and I'm really comfortable with it, then I just kind of go into my own world and I'm like, I, I'm just kind of like in the back of my mind, like, I hope everybody's enjoying this as much as I am. And, I try to get to that point with every song that I sing, just because I think that's the best way to communicate, the feeling of the song. It's not, I mean, yes, you want to be able to hit all the notes properly and, have, good dynamics and stuff like that. But you also want to be able to show the emotion. So I think if you're focused on the technique so much, then you miss the emotional part and you miss the connection with what the song is about. And sometimes the technique doesn't matter in a portion of a song. Like there might be a portion, and I can't remember which song it was, but there was a Janet Jackson song that was really, really emotional. And at the end, you could hear her voice kind of break, like she was about to start crying. And that just made the song like so much more impactful, because of that part, because they didn't make her do it until, she could do it perfectly and hit the note correctly and everything. It was just kind of like, wow, that was like, yes, that sold the song to me because
Yes.
she's crying at the end, I'm crying at the end of the song. you know, so it's just kind of finding that balance. So, yes, in the beginning, you're going to be worried about the technique, but, getting to the point where you can just experience the song with your listeners while you're singing it. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, no, yes, it does. It does.
that's where I try to get to with my music.
Yeah, because like you said, if you're not enjoying the song, that shows. So people are not gonna be able to enjoy it as well. It's like when you see a dancer, and you can tell in their head they're counting 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. You know, it's kind of like you don't see the happiness of them dancing. You know, you're seeing them worry, and you know, it goes to everybody. You know, it kind of it just comes out like that. And when you're singing a song, if you are thinking about, you know, all those things, I think that's why, you know, rehearsing, you know, every day. And like I was talking also to one of my other guests, he says he doesn't rehearse because he's singing every day. Like, you know, that's pretty much his rehearsal. So when it comes to a point that he has to do a gig, he doesn't have to spend many hours rehearsing because he's been doing it. He does it all day, you know, for hours at a time. And I think that's what makes it perfect. That's what makes it like, you're gonna be like, I know I'm gonna hit those notes because I've been singing every day. You know, I've been singing this song, you know, many times, and I know how it goes. It's kind of like subconsciously you already know, so you don't have to actually consciously worrying about how to hit those notes. So does that happen to you with certain type of songs? Like you're like, okay, you know, I got this one down. I don't have to rehearse it as much as this other one that I don't sing as much.
Yes, and I think I'm still gaining confidence in my voice and understanding everything that it can do. Like sometimes I surprise myself, like where I'm just, and that's usually the times where I'm just like lost in the song, where I'm like, oh wow, like okay.
You're like, yeah, me.
I know. But I think just sometimes you can psych yourself out, like with certain genres or certain artists. Like, sometimes I take requests and people will say, well, can you sing this song by X, Y, and Z? And I'll be like, oh, that's I don't know if I can sing like her. But the point isn't to sing like them, it's to sing like you,
exactly.
So, I think just kind of letting go of the expectation to like compare yourself to somebody else and sound like somebody else really helps you just kind of learn how to enjoy the song and get into the experience with the people that are listening.
Yeah, and that has happened a lot to me with you, Keisha. That I have heard songs and then I was like, no, I was like, Keisha, can you sing this song? And I was like, I like it, you know, only with your voice because I mean, you adopt it to your voice, to your style, and I think that's what I like. I don't know. I mean, I know I love a lot of singers, a lot of them, but there's always a specific song that even though if it's popular, you like it with somebody else. It's like, can I just take it from you, and give it to Keisha? And there's quite a few that I tell you, like, oh, and sometimes I tell you, like, I heard this song before, but I just don't like remember it right because the voice is just so different as far as like how you sing it, how you interpret the song. And I think that's what I like a lot, that you don't tell anybody I'm not gonna sing the song because I don't sing like that person. You always like, okay, I'll give it a try, and you go for it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna give it my own style or personality, whatever it is that you dress up the song as Keisha song.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I think that was the biggest compliment anybody's ever paid me is when you said, "Oh, I didn't recognize that song. Like that song just sounded like it was for you."
Yes.
I was like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, I love that. And like, and when you say, Sylvia, you have any requests? I'm like, you know my songs, girl. You know my songs. I don't have to type them anymore. You know what I go for, and the songs that I told you is like, I thought they were yours because they sound better with you, and I think that's how kind of like it helps you to find also your type of music. The music that it goes for your voice. I know not all of us are gonna be singing every type of music because our voices are totally different, and um, some people there might be wonderful in opera, but they might suck in like rap, of course. There's like nothing to do there. But some might surprises and they'll be really good at it too. But at the same time, it's like you have to pay attention what the people is asking you to sing, because that might be like a way for you to know this is the music that I need to be singing. And the people that are actually recognizing um, how my style is. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good kind of measure. I mean, some people come up with some crazy ideas, but sometimes it's those crazy ideas where you find like the little piece that makes you special. So, like I had somebody that would always come to me and request these like 90s like hair band songs. And I was like, why is he asking me to sing these songs? And then I was like, I mean, it was kind of part of my personality because when I was a teenager, I went through this rock phase. Like, I don't sing metal. I don't sing a lot of rock, but I listen to a lot of it. Um, so I think I bring probably a little bit of that to my singing. My voice is not suited for rock, so I don't know. I think they were just like, I can tell that you probably like this song, so why don't you try singing it? And it was fun. It was fun, and um, it like you said, it sounds nothing like the original when I sing it, but it just kind of brought out that side of me. It brought out that side of my personality, and maybe just a touch of, I don't know, edge to my voice. So
Yeah, and I think
it's yeah, it's definitely.
No, I was saying like I think having just different type of music too, and it's also you need to have fun too. Even like some songs like you're thinking, okay, well I'm not gonna record this song, but I'm gonna sing it because it makes me have a good time.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one
And
of the things that I think we all should have. Like okay, here comes the crazy songs.
yeah. And it makes it more fun and less work. Because if you get too much into like technique and songs that suit your voice and trying to make sure that you're switching the song to fit your voice, then it kind of gets, it becomes more like work. And then you start to look like you're working.
You're like, am I almost done with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is true. We need to have the funds where, like, we cannot reach the notes and things like that. Like, yeah, like I said, like it happens to me. When sometimes when I stream and I was like, okay, let's sing some music. And but I tell you guys, I'm not a singer, so this is just for fun. Because that's music. I mean, let's be honest. Everybody likes singing. Everybody, some people might not admit it. Some people might do it, with like nobody around. And then there's those crazy ones of us that we're thinking that, let's sing. I don't care where we are, but we're gonna sing just to have fun, even though we're gonna start breaking cell phones and, things like that. So I always give a disclaimer, guys. When I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna be singing, guys. Watch out with your cell phones. If you wanna leave, you guys can leave. But it's always, it just makes you happy. I think that's like the right word. It makes you happy. It relaxes you. It, that's what I'm saying. Like, you had to have those crazy songs on your, itinerary and said, okay, I'm gonna sing some crazy songs right now because I need to let my stress out. So I think we need to kind of change a little bit your streams, Keisha. Be like crazy songs today. That'll be funny.
That would be funny. That would be funny. There were a couple of days where I was doing that. People were throwing just craziness at me. But it was fun. It's fun, like you said. And I really think music is natural to humans. I mean, even people who are hard of hearing can still feel the music.
Yes.
So, I think it's inherent to human nature to really enjoy music. So, I have this saying, if you can speak, then you can sing. Like the ability to sing in the way that we typically think about it is in the ear of the listener. So, like there are some people who have, lots of albums sold who are not particularly beloved by, other people because they don't like their voice or their tone or whatever. They feel like they can't sing. Like, I don't really feel like that's a thing. I think if you want to learn how to sing, you can. You can learn breath support. You can learn how to sing in key and on pitch. Um, those are things that anybody who can speak can learn how to do. So really, pretty much everybody can sing.
Yeah, I had a friend that said the same thing. It's like if you can speak, you can sing, and what you were saying that even people that can't hear, they feel the music. Actually, there was think there was a girl, I cannot remember if it was American Idol, but she was deaf, but she sang pretty good. And she was here actually in our studio. She was interviewed by one of my coworkers, and the way she sings is she doesn't have shoes. She's bare feet. She was on the stage bare feet, and she was feeling that vibration of the music. That's how she know that when she needed to come up, with start singing and stuff like that. So that was something like unbelievable. That you kind of think like, wow, music and does this much.
Hmm.
Somebody that is totally deaf, how can they sing so beautiful and you know everything perfect? Well, is the vibrations, you feel that, is that's what they said, we are old, is vibes, we're vibes, either negative, positive, and that's what we say, let's try to be positive all the time. I know it's hard sometimes, but that tells you how much, that goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, not to get too nerdy about things, but our bodies are mostly empty space, so we can feel things vibrating. And not everything is like consciously. We don't consciously feel every vibration, but like you said, you can learn how to feel the music and learn how to tell the difference between, the different notes. It's really all it is your vocal cords vibrating at different frequencies. So it's it's amazing
Yes.
that somebody can learn how to do that, because people who don't have to learn how to do that are like, what, how did you do that? But it's very possible. And I think it just kind of speaks to like how amazing we are like as creatures, or you
Yes.
know what I mean, just our bodies, our minds, our spirits are just so amazing, and we're so blessed to be where we are. And I think we just need to focus more on the positive aspects of life, like you're saying, and trying to uplift each other and do things that are fun, because you can't survive being unhappy.
Exactly. I mean, you can, but I don't know for how long.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's one of the things, I mean, you have choices, and you can choose being, either happy or unhappy, and at the same time, it's like it's your life. But I'm pretty sure if you choose the happy side, you're gonna be much better off. Either health wise, relationships, work related stuff. I mean, everything, when you choose to be the positive side of it, is gonna be much better than the negative. I mean, well, negative, you can be okay. I'm by myself. I don't have anybody around, so I'm gonna be chilling out, and that's good. That's wonderful. That's what you want. But if that's not what you want, you have to kind of start making changes. And like you said, sometimes when we don't need to develop, our other senses, um, that means that you're blessed. That means you have your eyesight, your ear, you have everything, that you don't have to develop the other senses, like, like to feel the vibes. But, when we become, how would you say that, like, not being able to use one of those, like this girl that, is deaf, I mean, she did incredible. I mean, I can't even like think that even right now, knowing what I know, will be able to do what she does. That is just what it is. And so we have to appreciate that we are so blessed, and just keep going on, like you said, Kisha, supporting each other and being positive. Especially music brings a lot of happiness to a lot of people. It makes us cry too. It depends, but most of the time, that's what they said. When you're happy, listen to happy music, because then you're gonna start listening out to a lot of sad music, and you're gonna start crying, or just you have to choose the right moment. If you wanna be just happy, listening to slow music, I mean, that works too. But when you're sad and you don't want to be sad, don't listen to sad music, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, Kisha, what plans do you have in the near future, if we're still with the pandemic going into 2021?
I do kind of follow things. It does look like, things are going to be slow for a while. Um, so I'm just going to continue to, use technology in the best way possible. Right now I'm streaming, which is where we met, on a platform that allows me to do concerts every day. So, we can keep doing that. I can find other ways to reach people. And I'm also starting to really just have time to work on my own music, like writing my own music, and producing my own music. So it's actually, it's actually been a blessing, or I've been able to make the most of the situation. And I don't think it's opened up opportunities that I don't think I would have taken or I would have had if, things had been the way that we planned.
Exactly, exactly. That's one of the, a lot of times, people are like, "How you seeing this?" And it's like, well, we have to look at the positive, whatever it is from it. Either opportunities that are coming that were not there, either with the family, with your career, with just yourself, working on yourself. I know you've been working on yourself a lot too. You're working out. It's time that you probably wouldn't have if this wasn't happening.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely, like you said, we started working out because there was nowhere to go. So I was like, well,
Might as well let's do something, right?
yeah, might as well get in shape. But yeah, so it's just about really trying to see, like, look at where you are and see what you can do with what you have. And, I think it's because when I was little, I would ask a lot of questions, and I think my parents just got tired of answering my questions. So they would tell me to apply what I know to what I don't know. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't understand that. But now I feel like I'm living that. Like, it's just like whenever something comes at me, I'm just like, all right, well, I know X, Y, and Z. I don't know ABC, but let's try and figure it out, And I think when you look at life like that, like, I don't know. I don't want to say a puzzle because not everybody likes puzzles or math equations. But if you look at everything as a possible opportunity to better yourself or to move yourself forward, or in whatever direction you're trying to go, then yes, it's okay to have bad days. It's okay to be sad sometimes. It's okay to have negative emotions or experience negative things, but what you don't want to do is let that just completely consume you and stop you from moving forward. So that's really what I try to do with everything. I've been doing that pretty much, I guess, since my parents started telling me to know to apply what I know to what I don't know, up until now, and it's come in very handy this year. So,
Like, thank you, mom and dad.
yes.
Hey, like, see, that turkey started on the oven and ended up in the grill.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you said, you have to kind of take something from the negative and turn it into positive, and sometimes it's really hard. Depends on what day you're having, right? If the day is being difficult and something else comes up, and it's kind of like really like, what else can happen? Don't say that, guys, because life always takes it as a challenge. It's like, oh, really? Boom! Something else will come up the same day. So make sure you don't say that. Just try to look at it and kind of turn it around, because it is something that, if we don't look at it that way, we're just stuck. We're just stuck on negativity.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, it's okay to feel negative feelings, but just try not to let it impact your life. And even if that means you're like, okay, this just means I'm gonna take a day for myself and relax. That is fine. That is fine. But just don't let it affect you to the point where it affects your state of mind and you let it get you even more down and even more into a negative state of mind. So yeah, that's just really what I've been doing this year.
So does that happen like when you have one of those days? Now that you're saying that you're working on your own music, writing your own songs, do you apply those to like, okay, let these feelings out and just write them down? Kind of like start making a song or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't do that as much as I used to when I was a teenager, and I actually just found a bunch of these old journals, but I used to journal about everything. Like I would write short stories and poems like about my feelings. So I think now I'm like going back and reading that stuff and I'm like, what does 13-year-old Keisha feel about this situation? And, and just kind of looking at myself and going, okay, understanding how I've changed because I've grown up a little bit. Well, a lot of it. Like,
You're like, oh, why should I say?
yeah, since I've grown up, and how much of it is the same. And it's just kind of interesting to to look back. And I used to journal a lot about music and about how much I loved singing. But I didn't think that I had a good voice. So it was just kind of feel like it came full circle. But I mean, to go back to your question about, journaling, yeah, it's definitely very, very helpful to kind of take those feelings. I mean, happy feelings, sad feelings, whatever kind of feelings you're having, and write them down. And I think a lot of music starts off that way.
Yes, I do think so too. And I was kind of like the same way as you, Keisha, when I was younger and anything happened, like I would write a song or a poem out of it. I didn't like wrote it down as just as a journal because people in my house were kind of nosy. Hello, people. So I didn't want them to kind of like knew what I was going through or how I was feeling about the situation we were living. So I would just write a song or write a poem and be like, that's just a song. That's how I would defend myself. That's just a song. That was just a poem that I had to do. But that's how I used to do it. And thinking now that was helping me a lot, through like those moments that we're down and we don't have like a escape. Not all of us have like a room that you can go and just scream all loud. We don't have a punching bag that we can just punch, and get all our stress out. With the stuff that is going on, we cannot go outside, just like normal people anymore, or go for a walk. Sometimes, there's a lot of people walking, and we just found out that this virus, stays on the air for a long time. So you don't want to, do that stuff. But there's other type of ways to get that out of you, and one of those I think is writing, painting, drawing, any of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think just that, like you said, oh, that's just a song. I don't think that kind of thought process wasn't just to kind of hide the fact that you were feeling that way, but I think it also kind of helped you resolve the feelings. Like, I wrote about it, now it's just a song. Like, I'm over it, I'm done, and I can, move on from that feeling. And I think that's why it becomes so helpful, to express yourself artistically, like you said, through even painting or drawing. I mean, there's lots of different types of art now.
Yes, even
But
cooking, even cooking.
even cooking.
That's
So
culinary art.
I know, yeah, it's very, very artistic now. But yeah, I think just, being able to express yourself and then have that creation kind of embody how you were feeling, and then transferring that into the, whatever you created, and that way it's not a burden on you anymore. Um, that's definitely very, very helpful.
And have you? How many songs have you written like for you? Or
Um,
they're on the process.
I don't really know. I think there, I wrote one song with my brother, that we wrote together. That's complete. And
It's
then,
not. That's
you know,
not
I,
the rocket scientist, right? That's not about the
no,
moon
no,
and the
it's,
stars.
it's another brother.
Because he can write probably something really good about the universe and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, and my rocket scientist brother even played the trombone when he was in
Oh,
high
okay.
school. Um, but I think maybe I have like two more songs that are almost done, I guess, or ready to show the world. Yeah, and I'm working on another one, so that'll be another collaboration. So yeah, I guess we have three that'll be ready soon.
Oh, that's awesome. And I know I want you to sing for us again.
Okay.
And I don't know which song are you thinking of singing?
I figured, since this is Canciones de Domingo, I'll do a song in Spanish. It's actually, yes, it's one of my favorite songs to sing, and I know Sylvia, you requested a lot. So this is Bésame Mucho. It's like a Latin jazz classic song that I grew up listening to. Um, yeah, and I can really, I don't know, I really like felt the emotion of the song, and I didn't really understand why until I read the story behind it. But
Yeah, well, sometimes you get the calling, and then later you find out why, right?
yeah, yeah, but it was just kind of like I could really relate to the original writer of the song. She Consuelo Velasquez wrote the song as a young, I guess, a young lady,
Yes.
and she never. Apparently, she wrote the song before she'd ever kissed anybody. So the song kind of took on a. It didn't take on a new meaning, but it kind of made me understand a little bit more the emotion behind it. It was kind of like longing for that first kiss. Um, and kind of all the ideology that goes around it. So I really like singing the song, and I really love what it means.
Yeah, and you surprised me when you said, "Oh, I have this song," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "That's one of the classics, Spanish songs in the whole world, because this song is in every single language, as we found out, right, Keisha?" And it is a
Yeah,
beautiful song. So I thank you, for picking this song, because I've been enjoying it, in every single stage of it. I think I've seen it in quite a few stages, and I love it. So thank you so much, Keisha. So go for it.
okay. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a tenerte, perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a tenerte y perderte después. Quiero tenerte muy cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piensa que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré lejos, muy lejos de ti. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a tenerte y perderte después. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo a tenerte y perderte después. Que tengo miedo a tenerte
Keisha, so much. I love that song. It's like it's pretty crazy. You know, it kind of repeats itself many times, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, probably for you, I don't know, how hard was it to memorize it in Spanish?
It wasn't too hard. I grew up in California, in Los Angeles, around a lot of Spanish speaking people. So actually, according to my mom, my first words were in Spanish. And like I studied Spanish in school. I'm not really fluent anymore, but I can still understand Spanish. But yeah, I studied Spanish pretty much all through my education, even in college. I studied Spanish, so um, yeah, it wasn't very hard to learn because of that.
Yeah, well, that's because it is sometimes really hard. We have usually every year we have a concert here in Colorado. Of course, this year didn't happen, but it's called a night around the world, and they bring artists from different parts of the world, and but most of the time the music that is played is actually in Spanish, and we have this singer here actually in Denver, Colorado. She's African American, Cheryl Renee. They gave her a Spanish song, but it was a Spanish song from Cuba, so it's like different type of Spanish, right? And I remember she was kind of nervous doing it, and I was there in the rehearsal, so I kind of she came up to me like, "There's some words that I don't think that I understand." I'm like, "Me neither. Let me look them up for you." Because they're different, right? It's different Spanish, the Cuban accent, is a little bit different. So, she went with it and she did such a good job. And when you started singing that song, it reminded me of Cheryl Renee. It's like, and you couldn't even tell that she didn't speak Spanish or that she didn't know what she was singing. It was like the feeling, everything was there when you're. A complete artist, pretty much it doesn't matter what language you sing, and is you always know how to do it to express the feelings.
Yeah, and I think the feeling usually comes across. So I do like to listen to music in other languages, and sometimes I can tell what the song is about just based on how they're singing the song.
Yeah,
And
the
yeah,
body
and
language.
right, and I think this song is probably easy because it's slow. I don't know if there were a faster song, it probably would have been harder for me to learn.
I think I'm gonna push it to learn Despacito like Ryan.
Yeah, that one might be a little bit harder for me to learn.
Even for me it's hard. I don't think I
Right,
can do
right.
it. Yes. But
Um,
are you thinking of have you seen another Spanish songs that you like and that you would like to interpret?
um, actually, Selena was a big influence of mine growing up. So I grew up listening to her music, and because I was around a lot of Spanish speaking people, I listened to her English music and her Spanish music.
Yes.
So, I think it'd be fun to do some Selena songs. I also grew up listening to Celia Cruz, and I think it'd be fun to do some of her music too. I probably do know the words to those songs, but it's probably just because I've been listening to it for like decades.
Yes, and they're really catchy. They're so
Yeah.
catchy, especially Celia Cruz. She's an icon too of the music, and Cuban too.
Right, right. And, I think because my parents had such a deep respect for music, and not just specific genres, like we grew up watching, award shows from other countries. So I
Oh,
watched the Latin Grammys, and I remember the first time I saw Celia Cruz, I was in love. Like, she walked out and she sang, I can't even remember the song she sang because just her presence was so impactful. But she just had blue hair that matched a blue sequin dress, and and this was like the late 90s, I think,
yes.
and that wasn't normal like it is now to match your hair. And I was just like, this is the best person ever.
Yeah, I think she was kind of like a rebel in the area. I remember me too, like when I was younger, like I will match my whole makeup. If it was green, everything was green. Lips, blush, stuff on my hair, like that. So it was kind of like I'm standing up here, But
Yeah.
Celia Cruz had this personality. I mean, she was little, but she had this big personality everywhere she went. It has the stage presence. Yeah, and her word was azúcar.
Right.
Remember that she would just walk in the place and like azúcar, and everybody start dancing. She was not even singing; she was just saying that, and everybody start moving. So that was a good person to look up to.
Yeah, yeah. And definitely, I think, you know, maybe some of the, when I do get a little bit flashy with my music, I think it's definitely influenced a little bit by Celia Cruz, because that performance was definitely like one that sticks out in my mind. And I was, I mean, I wasn't too young, but I was pretty young when that happened.
Yeah,
So,
I think you were very young. Like when I'm around people and it's like, oh, look at the song, and they're like, and it's like, they haven't played in about 25 years. I'm like, oh yeah, wait, you were not born yet. Sorry. I keep forgetting that most of the people that I hang around with, they haven't been around as much as I have, so they don't know most of this music. And but it happens to me a lot where it's like, oh, or Celia Cruz, like you said, some type of idols that we have from back on the day, and they come out with like some popular songs um, that now a lot of people are actually remaking these songs. So it's good because, like I was saying, with the new generations, how they find out about the old music is when people remake this music, either putting a little bit or more modern to it, or either just singing it all over again.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, and I've had similar experiences where somebody, like a younger person, is hearing a song, they're like, man, this is a good song. I was like, yeah, it's different from the original though. And they were like, there's another one? I thought
It's
this
like
was the
I was
original.
listening to you. You're like, I have news for you.
I'm like, this is like the fourth person that's remade this song.
It's like, movies too. A lot of the movies, you see the same story over and over again because they're just remakes, and they just change the title, or that novelas, how we call them, like the soap operas. They're always the same. They just change titles, and they do it again. It's like, oh, that was really good. Like, yeah, well, I already watched it like 7 times, through my life. But that's how kind of like the new generations start getting to know more of the music. They start getting more interested in how things actually work. When it's like, oh, that was it, yeah, and it just happened to me. Actually, it just happened to me with the song "Last Christmas." Um, I never heard it before, and I guess it's not one of like the songs that they get played with, like "All I Want for Christmas Is You" and all of them. So I think "Last Christmas" they don't play it as much during the season. And when I heard it from Arian Sharma, and I was like, oh, that song is so beautiful. So I asked him, I was like, the who wrote this song? It's like, no, that is a very old song, but it's more like actually more like rock style, and he
Mhm.
made it more modern, And I was like, oh wow. So actually, that got me into like going back and listening to the original, which I like more than you. And we all get our little I don't know, likes or whatever it is, but it depends on what type of music you go for. But yeah, the way that he redid it, it brings like I don't know, I think it's just wonderful. And then now I'm seeing it with more artists, because like when I go and look for it, I'll say Taylor Swift sings the song too, and I was like, what? And I never heard this song before. So it's kind of, you get to know different type of music when they get remake, and there's something catchy about it, all the time. So that's when you kind of start investigating.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's fun to see other people's take on the music, and that's also another, I guess, blessing of technology is now you don't have to only hear Taylor Swift or like really really popular artists do a song. Like you can hear a small town person do the song and find it on YouTube, and you might like that version better
Yes,
than
yes,
the popular ones. So,
yes.
I think it's really cool, yeah, to be able to, connect with people like that and connect with music in that way.
Is there any song, any old song that you would like to remake?
Um, there's lots of old songs I'd like to remake.
But one specifically that you're like, I think you should do Michael Jackson and actually speak the words that he says. That would be
Michael
so
Jackson.
funny. Oh, it's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah, I think probably the first song that I sang, the Sade song. Like, Sade is also a really big influence of mine, and like, I can hear that song done so many different ways. So I think it'd be fun to kind of be able to change the arrangement, and things like that. So, I mean, actually, it would probably be to kind of incorporate a little bit more of like a Latin feel to it, because I have like a lot of Latin music influence.
Yes.
So, like, that might be my take on it. And then, like, I heard somebody rapping over that instrumental, over that song's instrumental in a different language, and I don't know what language he
Oh.
was speaking, but it was just really cool to have, like, I was like, oh, it would sound really cool with a rap in there. Like, it's
Yes.
just kind of, taking a song that you love singing, that you've maybe heard, growing up and everything, and then putting your own spin on it, and, seeing what you've come up with, I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I think that one of the ways that I kind of listen to a song in a totally different, type of music that is actually played with is when the DJs start mixing. When they mix the music and it's kind of like, wow, that sound is so good with, like, with that type of instruments or whatever it is that they throw in there when they're mixing it. But yeah, I heard one of my favorite songs actually. One of our friends, DJ VO, DJ VO, is that it? DJ VO, right? Is that
Yeah.
DJ?
DJ GVO.
Yeah, there you go. Hello, friend. Well, he was mixing one of the old songs from Mexico, and it's kind of like it was remake now. It's more like a ballad, but it was more like a kind of like more folkloric type of song, and he mixed it with some crazy music, and I was like, that sounded good. I was like, that I was impressed. So that's when you get your ideas of like, well, that song would be really good if we like put this more or take this out, or things like that. So I think when you say somebody was rapping on top of the instrumental part of it, of the song that you want to remake, um, it sounded really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's fun, and it is fun to kind of think about, okay, well, what if we swapped out this instrument for this instrument but kept the part the same? What if we had this instrument play a different part? Like, it is a lot of fun to kind of play with, songs that have kind of been around for a while.
And that's also part of the music is experimenting, is trying new things, making it yours, being more personal, giving your characteristics, just everything. I think with music and songs, it's pretty much like a way of expressing yourself. So whatever it is that you're feeling at the time, it's like, oh, this is gonna sound really good, or slowing down more a song or putting it a little bit faster. That's all between whatever it is that you want to bring out to the table. It's not something that you want to make it better. I think what it is that you want to make it personal,
Hmm.
give it your own style.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe attract a new listener to that song. And like you said, you never heard that one song until somebody sang it for you, and it was like, a modern pop style, but the original was like a rock and roll. And there was like
Yes.
three other split to it, so it was probably like country pop then. Like,
Yes, exactly. So you hear different type of rhythms, and it is interesting when you kind of like, how do they come up now with this version? And it's like, oh, now this version. And it's like, like in Mexico, we have all kinds of, different type of music, but we have like the ranchera, the banda, balada, cumbia, so it's like the same song goes through like 10 different phases, because that's what's popular, it's like Despacito right now, I think you hear in every single type of music that is out there in every single language too. Um, but I think it's the fun of it, Everybody's gonna listen to that song because it's a different type of music that everybody, listens to all kinds of music. It's not there's like the whole world is not just gonna listen to one version. That's for sure.
Right, right. And I think, it gets the message of the song across to a bigger audience. So,
Exactly. And so, Kisha, if people wants to find you, I know you have a lot of social media. Thank God, actually, I found you on every single social media. You're the only one that I have seen. When I'm gonna tag you, and I was like, oh, they don't have this. Oh, they don't have that. But Kisha was everywhere. So thank you, Kisha. So they can find you everywhere, right?
yes, I am Keisha, Kesha, Janan, Janaan. I was blessed with a unique name, so I was able to snag that everywhere. So, including the website. So, if you go to KeishaJanan.com, that's my website too.
Okay, good. So if they want, why not right now that especially for gigs and stuff like that, we can't really do much. I know maybe with passing the holidays, there might be again like a little bit of a lift of the red flags and things like that, where there's gonna be, with certain amount of capacity on restaurants or events like that, like for you to get a gig or something like that, they can just contact you in your social media or your website?
Yes, yes, and my email is also available on there too.
Okay, and what is it?
It's Keisha at KeishaJanan.com.
See? I knew it. I just wanted to give you a hard time with it. But is there anything else that you would like to tell our audience about yourself, Keisha?
Um, I mean, I'm just excited to be here. We had a great conversation. I'm so happy I've met you, and like we said, I just try to make the best of every situation. And had I not done that with the pandemic and having things be canceled, I never would have met you. So,
Exactly.
and I see the blessing in everything, and we just take things one day at a time and try to stay positive.
Exactly. No, for us, for me, it's a blessing and an honor having you, not just as a friend, but as an artist. I appreciate you. And um, I try, to be with you. Like, almost, like, sometimes I miss you. I was like, oh, she already streamed today. Or, like, I haven't seen her. Or, it's something always. But, most of the time, I'm there asking you to sing for me. So I really appreciate, your time, your voice, your talent, and your friendship overall. It's more wonderful when there's friendship involved. So.
Yeah, yes, and I appreciate the same for you. So, like I said, I'm really really blessed to have met you and to have made the connection that we made.
No, well, thank you, Kisha. And I totally forgot we've been talking and I totally forgot to translate most of the stuff. So let me just see if I can get a little bit in there. Bueno, como les digo, se me olvidó traducirles a todos ustedes desde el principio, me agarré la plática, así que les pido mil disculpas, pero con nosotros está Kisha. Ella es una artista que canta jazz y también canta R&B. También ella toca los instrumentos y como dice que ella empezó, la familia de ella está en la música. El papá es un artista muy reconocido, él también... él toca jazz y ha tenido muchos, ¿cómo se dice? Triunfos en la música y es como ella empezó, desde chiquita empezó con eso, pero dice que ella no se sentía cómoda cantando, que le daba como, que no sentía que ella tenía la voz para poder cantar. Entonces como fue pasando el tiempo y la gente empezó a ver cómo cantaba ella, le empezaron a decir que debería de empezar a cantar. Entonces fue como ella empezó a pensarla más en cantar, pero dice que no estaba muy segura, así que se nos fue al Army a seguir pensando si iba a poder cantar o dedicarse más a la música o qué es lo que quería hacer para el resto de su vida. Y estuvo en el Army 5 años, y cuando salió del Army empezó a cantar con sus hermanas, y le hacían como coro al papá cuando iba el papá de gira. Pero dice que apenas hasta como hace un año más o menos ella empezó a tratar de hacer las cosas por ella misma. Ella ya no quiso esperar a que el papá estuviera de gira para poder empezar a cantar, o que las hermanas estuvieran disponibles para cantar. Entonces ella empezó a hacer más las cosas ya por el lado de ella, empezó a sacar su propia música, ahorita está dedicada a escribir su música, sus propias canciones, y como lo oyeron, cantó Bésame Mucho, una canción que dice que a ella le gusta mucho porque desde antes de saber lo que decía la canción, le llegó a ella el sentimiento muy fuerte, así que es una de las canciones que ella le gusta mucho cantar, y me encanta que me la cante también, así que le doy las gracias por eso. Si gustan seguirla, ella está en todas las redes sociales, está en todas, cuando digo en todas, es en todas, en LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Live It, ustedes nómbrenlo, ahí está Keisha, así que si gustan escucharla, si quieren seguirla más, es lo que dice ella, que también quiere cantar unas canciones tal vez de Selena o de la señora Celia Cruz, así que yo que ustedes, yo la seguía para ver qué más sorpresas nos trae por aquí, y no, pues le estoy dando las gracias por haber estado con nosotros, y como les digo, es mi amiga, así que vamos a seguir escuchando más de ella. So Keisha, you want to sing for us to end the show?
Yes, we'll do a holiday song to close it out since we're in the holiday
Yes,
season.
that sounds wonderful to me. So go ahead, Keisha.
Okay. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering the simple phrase to kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways, happy holidays to
Bravo! I was gonna start laughing when you say about that turkey. I was like, contain yourself, contain yourself. So that was, like proud memories. So, but no, thank you, Keisha, so much for being with us, and I wish you nothing but the best, today and always. And I hope that 2021 bring many more success and happy times for you. I know it's been quite crazy. If you guys, Keisha didn't talk about her husband, but he is deployed, so it's been some empty holidays, but she's making the best of it, right? I mean, he's not there, so you're taking advantage of working on your music.
Yeah, yeah, and he's coming home soon. So
Yay! And
so
her husband is Hispanic too, so that's why she's like very, into our culture and the Spanish. So, we just want to say hi to him too, and thank you for his service too. And knowing that he's away from you during the holidays, it is something that I appreciate. And not a lot of people see it that way. They see it like, that's their duty to be there. It is, but at the same time, let's be grateful because he's doing that and we are here. So tell him thank you if he's, not watching, but kisses to him too.
yes, I'm sure he might be sleeping now, but I'm sure he'll watch the replay. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate all of the viewers and the listeners that are listening to us right now. And I wish you guys all the best and a great 2021, and hopefully we can all make the best of what we have left of this year.
Exactly. And I have like some comments. I'm going to just read some really fast. Danieli Gallegos, he's another musician. He's saying hi from Las Vegas, New Mexico. Dusan, he's seeing us from the other side of the world. Thank you for watching. Brando Towns, Ben Mestas, thank you for watching. John Antencio, thank you for watching. Robert Amador, thank you. Raven McDonald, Sam Sierra, Raven McDonald saying hi again. Afro-Americana, saludos y bendiciones, many blessings. David Martinez, Arthur Lee, have a wonderful day, ladies. Thank you so much. JC, come by, show you love. Thank you. Estela Sosa, thank you for watching. Kenneth Cruz, Mike Kramer, Leonard DeVore. Thank you. He's a friend from our platform. Thank you so much for watching. Manuel Cisneros, gracias amigo por estarnos viendo. Ben Sandoval, Adam, Mike Martinez, Mike, great voice. He's Eminem on our platform, so if you remember him. Fabio Di Blasio, Johnny, good afternoon. Thank you for watching us. Oswaldo Ñañez, Sherry Carraway, all of you guys that are watching us, thank you so much. And it's a blessing having you here too on KUHS radio and TV station. Another Sunday with Canciones de Domingo with Sylvia. I'm like, okay, because I'm trying to speak in Spanish too. It jumps around. But thank you so much, Keisha, and you have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll message you later today just to chat a little bit. But thank you, and all of you guys. We'll see you guys next Sunday. And muchas gracias por haber estado con nosotros en Canciones de Domingo con Silvia por KUHS de Radio y Televisión. Y aquí en el aire los dejamos con más música y ustedes los veo el domingo que entra. Hasta luego. So I'll see you soon, Keisha. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Y aquí en el aire continuamos con Jos Favela y Quiero.